Welcome to the show, everyone. I hope everybody is not sunburnt and having a great day today after yesterday. And happy Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving. I said Thanksgiving to St. Patrick's Day to everyone. My first guest, who is Stephanie Maloney. And Stephanie Maloney, so welcome back to the show. You got to tell everybody a little bit about you, what you do, and what we're going to talk about today. I was kind of being funny today because I was trying to do two things at one time here.
I'm a little roasted from the beautiful weather that we had yesterday on St. Patrick's Day. It's the Maloney tradition. We go out. Last year was the only one we hadn't, and we were able to enjoy the day yesterday with family, so it was really awesome. But didn't realize how strong that sun was on my face. So
I know, but you look
it
great
today.
Yeah.
So,
now I want to talk a bit about you. Okay, so you're Premier Estate Planning. You have been doing this an awful long time, and I want people to understand something about what makes you so different. First of all, what I love about you, okay, is that you're so real, and you're you're there for your clients. You want them to understand. You want to educate them. And you speak that way, right? And so I'm going to let you kind of talk a little bit about yourself and what you do. And today we're going to open up the lines to the audience again. So go ahead.
Yeah, so we have been in business for a long time in the Valley, Carol, and we operate under the Arizona Certified Legal Document Program, and a lot of people don't know that it exists, and it's monitored by the Arizona Supreme Court, and it's been around here in Arizona since 2003. We have been operating in the Valley since 95. So the program allows the public to get certain legal documents prepared without having to hire an attorney. So it keeps their costs down. And excuse me, our firm focuses strictly on the estate planning aspect of documents. We don't go out, do bankruptcies or child custody issues. We stay in our lane with the estate planning, but we're very good at it. And I pride myself in education because I want people to really, yes, it's a complicated subject matter, and people know they need to do it, but I want them to understand what they're doing. It's an investment in their future. It's going to make things nicer for their families when they ultimately go, but it's a big chunk of money that they're spending. They know they need it. They don't, know why. For a lot of people, they don't think they have an estate. So I just like to really demystify it and bring it down to simple terms that are just easy to understand.
Right, and what makes you different is that you do the successor education. Mm-hmm. And it's something that you're even going to be offering in your office, but we want people to hear what that is. I do, because I think that's really what makes you stand out.
Thank you. Yeah, I've never met another planner that does successor education. We started doing it years ago because I realized, most of us only get to do this one time, be a successor. And what a successor is, if you use a traditional will or a revocable trust, you're picking someone to do things for you when you can't. And depending on the document, they have a different title, but their job is to either run your life because you become incapacitated, or you're now deceased and they have to basically clean your slate, do the final tax return, distribute as you asked. And most of us have never done that before. So it's our first time too. And a lot of times the successors that people are choosing, they don't have their own documents yet. So they really don't understand. They get this pile of paper and they're just going, oh my goodness, what am I supposed to do with this?
Right.
And, a lot of times when people ask their successor, would you mind doing this job for me? Most people will want to do it. But having the successor education just gives them a little more confidence to know that they can do the job.
And what to do. Mm-hmm. I think that, and you follow them a long time.
Yeah.
This is not something that you just come in and say, well, this is what you need to do and this is what you should be prepared for. No, you are with them every step of the way, right?
Yes, and I'm doing this for, as you were mentioning, I'm going to open this up this year for families that I haven't even done their documents for. So I'm going to start offering it as a service because it's really valuable. And it does. People feel so much better after they have it. Even it's a nice refresher for people who have their own documents and don't even know exactly what they have anymore.
Well, if you think about it, honestly, this is not an easy job, okay? It really isn't. And, I think they get money for doing it. They get part of that because
it depends on the situation in the family. But,
okay.
Yeah.
But for the honestly, there's a lot to do, and you're in charge. You become that person who now has a lot of responsibility, plus you're grieving at the same time. I think that people should do this right away. I think everybody should have that done, and everybody should learn what to do, because most often, like you said, eventually we're all going to do, it's going to happen, right? To almost every one of us. Now, it depends on whether or not your parents did the documents in the first place,
Well,
right?
and just imagine, a lot of people are single kids, right? And you ask them, are your parents still alive? Yes. Well, do they have documents in place? And a lot of people don't know.
They don't even
They have
know.
no idea. And I would say 95% of our clients pick their own children to be their successors ultimately, if they're mature enough,
Right.
in the right place to do the job. So if you're an only child and you don't know, chances are if mom and dad do have documents, you're their person.
Right.
And if you don't even know if they have documents, how are you going to be able to use them effectively? You don't even know where they are.
So I'm going to do this whole thing for you. We're
Okay.
throwing it out, okay? First of all, you're starting this thing right away with this successor education that you specialize in. We're going to offer for everyone. There's a book that you have that is it's a planner. It's a planner. It's a guide for what you need to have. Everything's written down. It's lovely. It's not a small little book. It's huge, and it's awesome for people to have. And what comes along with that, I'm going to do it this way, is the successor education, okay? Because we want everybody to have that. First of all, the guide, tell them a little bit about it. I think everyone should have this guide.
Yeah, it's just a nice planner. It's a great conversation starter if you've been wanting to broach the subject with possibly your parents, because a lot of people feel like their parents are going to say, well, you just want to know what you're getting when I'm dead. And for most families, that's really not what's going on. They really genuinely just want to make sure they know what you want.
Right.
They want to be respectful of your wishes. They want, what if you have a sudden accident and mom and dad are now injured and they can't communicate with you? What pile of money are you supposed to go to first to start taking care of them? They probably have a plan, but you don't know what it is, and now they can't talk to you. But if you would have had that conversation before, I like to say the house is on fire and now we've got a problem, it's so much easier to joke and go, who's going to change mom's diapers when it's time? Of course, nobody wants to do that. But it's better to have the conversation today where we can actually have a conversation about it and say, well, this is kind of what we were thinking. We want to be home, whatever. But if you never have those conversations, you're not going to know.
Right. I mean, it's probably one thing that no one ever wants to talk about. So you want to say that it's the hardest conversation, yet I think once people start talking about it, and especially when they have someone like you, can be there to be talking with them, whether they do it alone or afterwards with you doing the successor education. But how nice to have somebody there, right? To have as like a mediator in a sense, right? But to make it easier, but having this plan, having this guide that you have as well. So we're going to leave our lines open for the rest of the show. I truly believe this because I know what I went through, okay? And with it can happen to me. It can happen to anybody. And everyone I know that has had their parents, because I'm in that age range now that most of us have lost our parents, and something has always happened. And every single one of them, like me, were blindsided, that's partly my fault too, right? Yeah. But in any case, I believe that it's very important. So we're going to leave our lines open for everybody to call in and get not only the guide, it's a planner. We want people to understand it's a planner guide. It's huge and it's great. It's several pages. It's not just a few things.
Yeah, it's
easy.
Talking about animal care, like everything that you're not even realizing.
From soup to nuts.
Somebody needs to know. It brings all of that to your top of mind to you.
Right. Now, we're going to leave our lines open here for the rest of the show. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Check her out. She's phenomenal. It's premieraz.net. You can also call her at 602-371-8898. I believe everyone should have this, 602-277-5369. We're going to continue talking here. I think you should just do this. I think that, come on in, have a seat. You're just fine. You forgot. I'm sorry. We did check. It is not right on the website. The problem is that when you Google it, Google sends you to the wrong one. So I just had them check because I walked in there immediately and I said, hey, and she said it too, but she also Googles it, but they said, we've talked to Google. What do you do?
When you're that big, you can do kind of what you want.
Right?
So, yeah.
Isn't that a shame though?
There's no
I'm
customer
sorry.
service.
No, it's no problem.
Because
It's like my.
it's nerve wracking though. I went I've been going to the other station for 13 years. So my first week here, what do you think I went? I went to the wrong station. I've experienced it.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as you pull in, you're like, ah,
Oh my God.
wrong spot.
Oh my God.
It's like,
Wrong
oh.
spot.
So
And it-
go ahead.
no.
So I want you to meet Stephanie, Jim.
Hi, Stephanie.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We sort of met without you talking because I had told each one of them about you, each individually. Go ahead and talk for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
so
like-
you're a reverse mortgage specialist.
yes.
Is that all you? Is that your niche?
That's it.
Yeah.
I've done the others for like 25 years, and I'd still have black hair if I had just done reverse. So.
Yes,
So,
awesome.
how about you? What's the specialty in
So
the financial?
estate planning. We do have a financial services practice as well. We say that we focus on foundation planning, so we're staying with estate planning, debt elimination, creating retirement paychecks that people will obviously not outlive, and then dealing with long-term care
Oh my God.
without using insurance because people don't want to buy it. And then by the time they get to the age where they're really thinking about it, it's really too
really
late.
expensive.
Yeah, they go, it's expensive, but you know what's really expensive is 1 month of care.
Yes.
So if you can even still qualify,
Yeah.
it's probably...
It's because the insurance companies got in it, and then they got out completely. Now they're back in.
They just didn't know how to,
So-
to price the product.
and
They
so
really didn't.
kudos
And
to
now
you.
there's cool annuities and life insurance tools that have living benefits on
Yes.
them. For a lot of people, it's their answer to hedge their money because none of us want to. It's almost like your homeowners. They don't want to buy long-term care because they're like, I don't need this. I don't
Right.
want to go there. My
Totally.
dad, push me off the Grand Canyon if I need that. Oh, okay.
Put me on
We'll
the
start a
back
new
40.
side, but right. So that'll put you on the edge. You're gonna have to get yourself over.
Yes.
That is not one of my services
Creativity.
yet. Maybe I'll start a dating service and a long-term care solutions.
That's pretty funny. Here we go.
It's funny. Did you move that?
No.
It's really close
What
now.
happened?
I don't know.
Oh my God. My God.
It's okay.
Welcome back, everyone. We're having a few technical difficulties here. So kind of funny, weird stuff is happening today. I don't know what it is. I didn't even celebrate. So, okay, we are talking with Stephanie Maloney. Stephanie is the owner of Premier Estate Planning, and we've been really talking a little bit about your firm in here. Like, we've been talking about how you help people, but with what you specialize in, okay? Estate planning is so much more than... we're just going to put that just down on there. Is so much more than just what people think, okay? And you have two books that we've got. We're going to leave the lines open. There's two different ones, and one of them's kind of fun. One of them is a little bit more serious. But they're planners. They're guides for you to know everything that you need from soup to nuts. Not only just of what you need to do, but also the things that you need to have, things that you might have not thought about. Your pets and who you want to go to. Maybe you want a second opinion on certain things that you might want at the end of things when you might be incapacitated. Also, the successor education that she does, she specializes in, and she believes that she's the only one that actually offers this. So you can either check her out on her website, which is premieraz.net. Call me and get this. I believe everyone should have the planner guide. It's so cool to have. They're beautiful, and also it'll just give you some peace of mind. Have a free consultation with her. Talk to her. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100.
I wanted to bring up a point before I forget it.
Okay.
So we're talking about single people, and doing the successor education because if they're the single only child, they're probably their person's successor. But for all of the parents out there that have adult children that are single, there's a likelihood that you're still their person. They're looking to, that if they have something happen, and yes, it happens to our kids, if you're in your 80s, your kids are in their 50s, 60s, we start having issues. And if you have a single adult child that's 55 years old, who's their person? If mom and dad are still here, it's probably them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have siblings, maybe it's them. But we all still need legal paperwork to be able to make decisions for these people. You say to yourself, well, who else would do it?
Well, you
my
also
son,
might
it's
have
my
very
daughter.
small children, you know.
Right.
It's the opposite. You also may have no family.
Yep.
Completely no family. You never know. And everyone really, we want to talk a little bit about estate planning and why, you know, you said it before, people think that it's all about money. They think that it costs a lot of money to do. But it doesn't have to in any way, and especially with the way you do your paperwork with people, your documents. And what I also want people to understand is for you to tell them what the most important things that they need to have and why they need to, and not even worrying about all the other stuff that goes along if you own a home and all of that.
Right.
Forget it. A lot of people don't, so it's okay.
Right. Absolutely. You know, estate planning is not, like you said, it's not about money. A lot of people think it has to do with taxes and just different things. And for most families, what estate planning comes down to is having paperwork in place before a problem arises, an incapacitation or, of course, death. You have your legal paperwork in order before the problem happens. And now we have an incapacitation due to an accident, a sickness, something happens, paperwork's in order and on file where it needed to be. And now we can focus on taking care of our loved one, making sure they're getting the care they need or whatever. You've got the paperwork in place, though, to be able to access their bank accounts, to talk to their 401k custodian because you need some of that money to pay for their care. You shouldn't have to go into your own pocket for their expenses. And when you have the proper paperwork in place, that's what it's about.
And people, listen up. I don't know if you do second opinions at all, too, but, you know, here's the thing, too. My dad, who had the paperwork, there were things that weren't done.
Right.
Because, again, you don't know what you don't know. And you can think you know it all, and it's really, unless you have somebody like Stephanie that can sit down with you and talk to you, making sure that really all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. And so what else could go wrong today? So, but honestly, you have to make sure of that because, for instance, for me, okay, first of all, my dad had it all done. Oh, it was all done. And it was just, oh, don't worry. You just go up on the computer and you'll go and get it right there. Well, first of all, for years, I was the one that was supposed to be the beneficiary. Well, when my mom passed, my brother, who was taking care of my dad, had them change that. I didn't know, and my dad probably forgot to tell me, right? So I didn't care. I mean, it didn't matter to me if that's what his choice was. It didn't matter. I was kind of like, that's cool, right? Yeah. But at the same time, it was also bad because it ended up being really bad because he didn't have everything done, and I ended up getting hurt more than anyone because he didn't have certain things notarized. He said it.
Yep.
He typed it out. But it wasn't notarized. And those things, listen, that's huge right there.
Well, and I was just meeting with a gentleman this week, and he had his estate plan done 15 years ago. So we touched base and needed an amendment done, some updates. And as we're reviewing, he doesn't have a lot of things in his trust that he thinks are there. This happens so often. And when you don't have things properly titled to the name of your trust, if you're using a trust, you don't have a trust. And I mean, we spent 4 hours together, way longer than I planned on, but it was so important, and we got people on the phone that we needed to at different financial institutions to confirm what type of accounts he really has because he was confused.
Right, and they'll put a hold on your bank account, right? Yeah. And for like 10 days. It's not like a small amount of time. And that when those kinds of things happen, now you're like dumbfounded because, you know, all the bills still have to be, everything goes forward. Nothing just stops just because, and they say, well, don't worry about it. Everything has to be taken care of, and that becomes a lot of pressure on you, and that's not what you want to deal with at this time.
No, you shouldn't be really having to make any of those big decisions because you're stressed. You've got a sick person in your life that you care for. Now you need to be able to focus on taking care of them. So just, you know, getting this paperwork in order. And again, the term estate planning sounds grand. It's not about that for most families. It's about maintaining control. So if you're a 24-year-old young adult getting started in your first professional career, and you have that 401k, you need financial paperwork for somebody to make decisions on those accounts for you if something happens to you. And I know no 24-year-old's thinking anything's going to happen to them. Right. But it does.
It seems to me, and I don't know why, because everything else they have laws not when I say laws, they can't make you do anything, right? But like now when you call anywhere, you have to be you have to give them your blood before, you can actually talk to them, right?
Yeah, even to change your DirecTV packaging.
Right.
Which
So,
isn't even important, right?
yeah, right. And so what I was going to say is now here, I would think that everybody at the age of 18, especially with the HIPAA laws, that they, when that came into place, and it's not a short amount of time, it's been here around for a while.
Since 96.
It's like, why wouldn't they make say this is something you need to do? It's just another thing. It doesn't even cost a lot of money, especially when you use someone like you. And that's another thing. People think it costs a ton of money to do.
But just imagine the problem that happens when you don't have the paperwork, but now you have the problem. The cost was 5 to 10 times what it was going to be to just get the right paperwork in place before the problem.
So you can call her direct. Her phone number is 602-371-8898. She does free consultations. Her website is premieraz.net. Also, we've got our lines open here for everyone. Everyone is going to get, we want them to get entered into win. This is a planning guide. It's a guide for you to know all the little tiny things that you didn't think about that you want into your estate planning, but it's not, it's so much more than that. I mean, paperwork that you might want to have, bills that you might need to make sure that are in order. Mine actually says what they should do with the washing machine, because guess what? They don't even know how to do that because they never even did the laundry.
Well, we joke around about saying that, death is easy, and it is. You're gone. If you had paperwork, great, and if you didn't, your family's going to have to figure it out. We all kill ourselves off in our stories. We don't imagine becoming incapacitated, and that's where the job gets really big, really fast, because it happens abruptly, and now your person has to serve, or somebody's running around trying to figure out if they are the person because they don't know.
Right, they don't even know.
But all of that requires an attorney and courts.
And now you're talking big money.
Yeah.
And now just again, talk to them about the successor education, because these guides are going to come along with an hour of success education.
Yeah, successor education, I can do it for anyone because it's not about your particular family. I get details from the family when they want me to talk about certain things, but what I'm talking about is the overall process. What happens when somebody's incapacitated and you're the person? What do you have to do? Because most successors just want to do the right job. That's really what they're worried about. They're not going, oh, I'm going to have free access to mom and dad's checking. That's not what it's about.
Right.
Maybe a very small percentage of the population, like everything else, most people aren't greedy. They're
No.
just wanting to do the job.
It has nothing to do with that. It's having getting your wishes done the way you want it to be. And another thing that you said one time when I think you were here the last time, you said a lot of people think that when they get this done that basically they're going to die, and that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I've learned a lot over the past several years. There's a lot of cultural differences about estate planning. They have feelings, so you have to be sensitive about that too.
Well, we know the most is that people put their heads in the sands with this completely. We want you to have this guide. We want you to have the planner. Along with that comes the successor education. Our number here, call throughout the rest of the show. It's 602-277-5369. Check her out. It's premieraz.net. She's fantastic.
Thank you.